So that gives you the gist of that pre-meeting. Something that was very purposeful there is you're noticing it's not in an administrative office. It's in the teacher's classroom. That's something that we do on purpose to help the teacher feel comfortable. And we do mainstream it with the evaluation form, excuse me, just so that we have the opportunity to have that parallel practice, because eventually we're going to measure that improvement in instruction through the evaluation, and that's why we elected to use the current system that's in place. So we're going to show you just a real short 45-second clip of the instruction. You can see Stryker's going to talk a little bit about how we did, there's the champagne budget and the beer budget. We pulled it off on a beer budget. We're using a tripod. We're using some equipment that costs less than $1,000, where some of the other stuff, technologies we've looked at have been close to $4,000 and $5,000 with their software. So we're going to show you real quick. This is just to give you an idea of what it looks like on that camera with the tripod and the microphones. Beautiful. So that gives you an example of what it looks like with the technology that we were able to afford. Just some reflection as we move forward to this point is looking at, do you have the current infrastructure to hold these in-depth conversations? I'm going to ask you to think about these as we move through the next video. To what degree do you value the conference being held, and what might be the role of the instructional coach implementing this practice? So the next segment we're going to show is really the stake and the meat of this whole process, and this is truly where the coaching happens. So probably the most important part of our presentation and sharing this information with you today is this post-conference that's occurring. So as I mentioned, that's the meat and potatoes. That's that key part of that dialogue back and forth. So what we're going to do in this last part of our presentation is there's an interview with the teacher, and he shares with us really where his thought process on it and how it's going as far as implementation. All right, we'll start at this point just introducing myself, Kosiorek, superintendent here at Byron Virgin. And at this point in the presentation, I'm sure you're very familiar with one of our outstanding teachers here at Byron Virgin, Rob Hopkins. At this point, just really sitting down with Rob and talking to him about his experience in videotaping instruction. So thanks once again, Rob, for participating in this.
Sure, absolutely.
Just wanted to ask you, now you've been through the process of using video recording to enhance your instruction, and just looking for your opinion on what your thought was on the process, ways to improve the process.
Well, first of all, I think it's a good process. I think that, I've said a couple times to Jim that we don't always see ourselves as others do, and that extends to our student body as well. So knowing what other people are seeing while you're teaching is really helpful. It's also helpful to see some things that you might have missed in the classroom or that could have been done better or more effectively. And one thing that I would recommend to keep the process going smoothly, we did this over a course of a number of days. That kind of lent itself, if I wasn't taking notes, or which there was parts where I didn't remember exactly and I couldn't really answer the question as well as I would have liked to, because the pre-observation was several days behind, and my lesson was also several days behind the post-observation. So I think keeping it contemporaneous and moving from leaving it with 1 or 2 days would probably be a helpful thing.
Excellent. I know at Byron Virgin, and not uncommon to other schools across the state, there's a lot of anxiety around the new APPR regulations. There's stress and hard work going on in implementing the Common Core. Sometimes it feels like the element of trust between coaches, lead teachers, administrators is strained in this new environment. What are some things that could be done to build that trust in realizing and using this opportunity to improve instruction and not necessarily think that you're going to lose your job? This is a coaching piece. We all fall at times into the effective range, sometimes the highly effective range, but almost nearly impossible to always be highly effective in anything we do, whether that's taking a trip to Wegmans or playing a pickup football game. So what are your thoughts on how you might communicate with other teachers or administration on the process and
and supporting that trustful relationship?
Well, I think that starts with you and then with the principals of the buildings. And I think what you just said there is that it's supportive in nature, and it's supposed to be. It's not evaluative. It is an effort to kind of help you do better and to build that trust. I think that might take some time and some practice. I think that yes, teachers are probably going to be reticent to allow themselves to be filmed under these circumstances at times. But I think also if we just keep communicating that, like you said, we're not always at our best. And it's okay. It's all right not to be at your best. So we're not looking at the video to see where you're not at your best. Looking at the video to see where you think you could improve yourself or your teaching. So it's, I guess to maybe hand it to the teacher, it's their own practice, their own kind of process. I think to give more or give control to the teacher for some of that might alleviate some anxiety. But I don't know. I can't speak for everybody.
No, absolutely. What was your greatest aha moment when you sat down and you viewed the lesson by yourself, but then you had the opportunity to sit down and watch a lesson with a coach? What was your greatest takeaway?
I think just my pacing. I tend to be pretty quick and speak pretty quickly. My concern is always that I think that I'm afraid there might be an interruption in understanding, or that might affect the student. Maybe they're not getting all the information and being able to use it. But I think that I came away with it thinking that my pacing was too quick, and finding that it looked like it was pretty good actually, because there's a balance between going too slow and going too fast. And I never thought that I was hitting that balance. I always thought I was on the too fast side. But then when I was able to see it, I thought, no, I actually am. It looks like they're really understanding what I'm doing. So that was one of